Many people say that music is a universal language. If that's the case, I would like to use music as a platform to talk about health. My name is Dr. Moshe Lewis, and I'm a full-time practicing physician who loves music and the way it affects our brains, our bodies, and our well-being. I would like to invite you to tune in where we interview musical artists about health matters that are important to them. But the truth is, we'll be discussing topics that affect all of us. From mental health to body image, cancer screening to stroke, our health is truly our greatest asset. So the goal is to open the dialogue on health to embrace topics that we don't always like to talk about in a way that's raw, candid, and lit. Hopefully, these discussions will improve the health of our community. After all, your health matters to me, and if I can make it sound more beautiful, then that's something we should all listen to.
Music and medicine, when you hear those words, how do they speak to your heart?
Music and medicine. Music is medicine. You feel me?
Welcome to Music and Medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Moshe Lewis, and I'm here with my co-host, Kathleen Bradley. Always delightful, as always.
Thank you, and it is always a pleasure to be here working with you. I've enjoyed the shows we've shared and had, and we've gotten so much great response from our audiences, and I'm looking forward to a whole nother season coming up pretty soon.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a young man with us who also started out when he was super young. So Marc Copage is a childhood actor, first at least breaking out in Diahann Carroll in the role of her young son in a show called Julia. And the first young Black child actor. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Very nice to meet both of you.
Sure, absolutely. I think I tried to get young in there twice.
Well, I don't know if I still fall in the category of young, but I thank you anyway.
Sure.
So,
absolutely. Talk to us about just first sort of getting into the business, even before, because I think you did a couple of little things maybe before that role, just sort of how you stumbled into it, because back then it wasn't something that everybody even aspired to like today.
Well, I definitely did stumble into it. It's not like I was a wannabe child actor,
Right.
Pestering my father to get me in the business.
Right.
My father was an actor, and I happened to be with him one day when he went to drop off some pictures to his agent, and his agent said that they were casting for this new show, and that he thought that I would be right for it, even though I had no ambition or experience or anything along those lines. And I ended up auditioning, and then I ended up getting the role. And then from what I'm told, I didn't want to do it at first, and I had to be talked into doing it. After I got it, I kind of, for whatever reasons, didn't want to do it.
like, don't make me.
But then I guess somehow I changed my mind, or someone else changed my mind. I don't know, but I ended up doing it. And I guess it's, for whatever reasons, fate. I'm kind of a big believer in fate, how certain things just line up where you're supposed to do something. I haven't figured out exactly why I was supposed to do that at that time, but I guess for whatever reasons I was. Or maybe life is just a series of lucky things. You can try and do stuff, but it's the people that I know that have fallen into their careers, even though they were really trying to do one thing, something else might have come and led I know so many talented actors that they could be making their living as actors, but, I have another friend that made his, he's making a good 6 figures as a voiceover actor, and he had not planned that way. He's a very talented writer too. It's just amazing the people that I've met through my life and worked with, amazingly talented people. Some of them have made it, the Bryan Cranston, Lenny Kravitz. And then there are others that aren't any less talented, but for whatever reasons, the stars didn't line up where they can actually make their living doing what they intended to do at first. So it's kind of interesting.
It's called
life.
Divine order.
I guess
divine
so.
Order, right place, right time. You were destined and clandestined to be at that right place at the right time. And we're also very glad that you were, because when you did take the role for whatever reason or whoever persuaded you to do so, you fit into it so perfectly. You were such a cutie pie little young boy, and you did your role very well in the reading, and I'm sure you have become such an icon and a legend to other young aspiring kids that wanted to either be in that profession or did not know they even could fit in at that time, because that whole series was so untimely, but it was timely and it was time for it. And you're so much part of history. How do you feel about being part of that history?
Well, I didn't really realize that till I was much older.
Of course.
But, you know, when you have people like Michael Jackson coming up to you and asking for your autograph, I guess that
It starts to click.
starts to, yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's an honor. And I like to think the best is still ahead, although I don't know how true that is. I mean, it's kind of hard to beat. I mean, at one time it was the #1 rated show on the Nielsen ratings.
Right.
But I'm really enjoying my life now. I've went back to school to study jazz improvisation and really enjoying playing with a combo. I play keyboards as well as I'm singing with the group.
Sure.
And I just feel really blessed at my age to still be physically, you know, I mean, people in my generation, and I'm on Facebook, and you hear about people with their different illnesses coming up and stuff. And good Lord, knock on wood, I'm able to pretty much do everything that I could ever do before. Maybe a touch slower, but still, you know, I mean, I just feel really, really blessed and lucky with my life. Sometimes I have to pinch myself. I mean, it could have turned out a whole different way. And knock on wood, I got a roof over my head, food in my mouth, and I'm still feel like I'm getting better creatively all the time, which I think is a real blessing. I mean, that's what you should do your whole life, is just keep trying to improve.
Right.
So.
Exactly. After the show folded or was over, did you still want to pursue more in the acting career? I know you did a few commercials and what have you, but did you still want to go to the next level? Because usually, you know, being in the entertainment industry, it's a rush to be working every day and going back and forth in the studio and have a great time. Just being here around all of the camera people and the crew and the cast and the catering. And it's really a good rush. And then when it all kind of folds and ends, it's really kind of a downer. How did you feel after the show? And did you want to pursue more acting?
Well, I really, at that point, enjoyed being with my friends, playing on the playground, playing Little League Baseball, playing Pop Warner football. I did some things, you know, some afternoon specials, Sanford and Son, an episode of Sanford and Son. It wasn't really until I got out of high school and came to the realization that I need to get a real job, that acting looked very, very lucrative to me. And, you know, it was probably after high school that I started pounding the pavement, you know, trying to get work as an actor. You know, I did some episodic stuff, you know, as I mentioned, afternoon specials, different strokes.
Let me ask you this without getting real personal. However, we know that with young actors and children that are actors in this industry, that they did have to create the Coogan law, which, you know, parents, for the most part, unfortunately, were taking so much advantage of their children, child actors, that they were taking their money, not putting it in the right place, investing it properly for them and everything. Did you, by any chance, hopefully not, that you fell into the Coogan Act? I don't think it was around during the period that you were acting, or was it?
No, I was definitely affected.
Okay.
I don't want to get into it too much because my father is no longer living. So, you know, I don't really want to be talking about people that aren't around to defend themselves. But no, I did not come out with maybe what I should have had, but hopefully with my music,
I hear you. Okay.
I can get enough, at least for my retirement. I mean, as long as I'm healthy and able to work, everything's great. But at some point, I will likely get to, you know, probably be working for the rest of my life. But that's fine.
Doing what you want to do. That's important.
Exactly. But, you know, I am concerned about when I can't work. And you know, some of it is my fault too. I mean, I made choices as a young man that probably were not the best choices too. So I can't blame everything on someone else. There was probably opportunity for me to be in a better position later in life. But most young people, or a lot of young people, make that same mistake too.
They say we live and we learn.
Yeah, exactly. So you just have to pick up where you are and do the best you can.
Right, and live and get burned. I wanted to tease out, because it was so iconic, and like you said, you may not have realized at the time, but in retrospect, just your first meeting that you can remember and interactions with Diahann Carroll and then working with her.
I remember spending the night and weekends at her home, which I really enjoyed because I didn't grow up with a mother. So I really took to Diahann as my mother because my real mother and father separated when I was 6 months old. My father ended up kidnapping me when I was 2 years old because I wasn't really, well, it's a long story. I don't want to get into, it's probably not going to be that interesting to anyone on my childhood trauma and stuff.
We're okay with that because that makes you the great man you are today, all the things you've gone through.
But anyway, I would even run away from Diahann Carroll at first just because I wasn't really used to female energy. But I really took to her, and it was wonderful, having that mother figure. Unfortunately, her daughter didn't like that relationship and didn't like me staying over there. So that, eventually put an end to that. And, in her daughter's, Suzanne's defense, if Diahann had been my real mother, I probably wouldn't want to share her either.
Right, sure. Did you ever notice, since you're an artist, any irony in the fact that she was not allowed to have a husband, father figure, and that you were coming to the story sort of lacking a mother? I mean, that certainly couldn't have been anybody's thought that this could be a surrogate type of a role, even in a small period of time, to help fill a void that both people may have had.
So you're asking basically about the controversy about Julia not having a husband?
Right, and the fact that you also didn't have a mother. I mean, there's just some irony.
Well, it was interesting because in my real life was kind of flipped from my TV life, and TV raised by a mother without the father, real life raised by the father without the mother. As far as all the criticism that the show got for not having a good Black man role model, I didn't really understand that till I got much older. But I could see the point. But, one of the reasons the show ended, even though the ratings had subsided somewhat, it still could have gone on a couple of more years at least. But Diahann was under such pressure from things like, the criticism of there not being a good Black role model to even the gowns that she was wearing. I think it was some famous designer that was Bob Mackie or something that did this. But then, as Diahann would say, it's television. It's just entertainment. It's not supposed to reflect necessarily reality. And she was getting a lot of criticism that, this wasn't really depicting of a African-American family.
Right.
But, Marlo Thomas and that girl had her clothes designed by Mackie too, a struggling actress.
Right.
So, they weren't getting those kind of complaints. It's like any little, I guess when you're the first of anything,
exactly,
you open yourself up for a lot of criticism. You're never going to make everyone happy.
Way ahead of your time. That's what the whole thing about it was. And, it was really time to have that Black family, though it was just the mother. It still was reality in terms of the struggles, even though she was a very educated nurse, that it was still wonderfully put out there. But like she was saying, and you would say, and no, now you can't please everybody, though it's entertainment, though we still went, and we enjoyed it being as a sense of reality in the lives, especially with Blacks, not having that male figure. But there were guys and men that came into her life that were educated, that were smart. And, she took it upon herself, I guess, to be able to pick and choose. And it showed a variety of different kind of men that, either she wanted to or not. And then she always thought about you as her son to make sure that she had that right role model of a man in your life.
And it was a part of reality because it kind of was how I grew up. I mean, I grew up middle class, and Julia was pretty much depicted as middle class, I think. And I think the groundbreaking thing was that being the first independent Black woman that had a good job versus just the stereotypes of being a nanny or a maid or, something like that. So
how did your relationship evolve after you kind of get past sort of that initial fear or things of that nature? And what kind of interactions did you guys have?
My relationship with
Diahann.
Miss Diahann.
It's unfortunate that her and my father didn't really get along. Because it would have been so wonderful to have. That's one of my biggest regrets is all the wonderful people that I met at that time that I would have loved to have soaked up their knowledge but I was too young at the time. I mean, I don't know if your audience will remember some of these people like Bob Hope and Cesar Romero and I mean, some real legendary type of people were on that show. And I wish, and even people that I got to meet outside, like the Carol Burnett's and Dick Van Dykes. Right. It would have been nice if I would have been older to get advice. And Diahann, of course, I mean, Diahann is doing basically what I'm interested in. In fact, I'm thinking of, I can't remember if I already mentioned it, but I've gone back to school some years ago to study jazz improvisation. And, I'm currently in playing piano and singing with a jazz combo group. And a lot of people don't know, they think of Diahann as an actress, but a lot of them forget that she actually started as a singer. Right. And I'm thinking of maybe putting together some kind of tribute to her.
That would be wise.
I know she's got so many firsts. Yes. The first interracial couple on Broadway she was a part of, but Harold Arlen, a very legendary songwriter. I mean, there's just so much that I think you could put together an interesting little tribute to her. So that's kind of been.
You should do that. You should put that to the forefront of your mind. Yeah. Because when you're thinking of things of that nature, that's why we love this show. We spark people's minds and interest, and they leave here very exuberant and exhilarated because you talk about these things that are within you, and you know that. You should put it down on paper if you don't, and try to maybe think about this year to accomplish getting the synopsis or something done about it. Go home and think about it. Take some more time on it. I think that would be an excellent idea. I don't think we've seen anything about Diahann Carroll, maybe just some kind of documentary, docuseries. I can't even remember. But she definitely needs to have her legacy told within the music realm and how you want to do it. I think you should.
Well, I appreciate your encouragement.
And I want to cut. 5%. I'm producing right now.
I thought she was cut you off.
No.
I think you're aging already.
But you're right. People have to actively be keeping your name alive. I mean, I had my teeth cleaned a couple of months ago by a 20-something-year-old dental hygienist. They had no idea who Clark Gable was. They had no idea who Jimmy Stewart was. They had no idea who Marlon Brando was. The only reason you hear about Marilyn Monroe and Jimmy Dean and Elvis is because there are people actively keeping their names alive. But no matter how famous you are, at some point, unless someone's keeping your name alive, you are going to be forgotten.
That's true. That's true.
So if I can
be
a small part and trying to, remind people who Diahann Carroll was, that would be an honor.
Yeah, you're a legacy as well. You're synonymous. Your name's synonymous with hers.
What has been your source of inspiration? How do you deal with the hard times or the down times? How do you stay positive?
By trying to just keep improving myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. I take a couple of yoga classes a week. I try to get my cardio in by taking a couple of boot camp. I've been dancing. I unfortunately, I had been dancing 17 social dances from waltz, cha-cha, salsa, West Coast swing, East Coast swing. Unfortunately, when COVID hit us, that, I thought I'd be dancing for the rest of my life. I mean, it's a great social thing too. But then when COVID hit, that put all that to an end. So I'm just starting to, I just signed up for an Argentine tango class. Okay. So that's where I will be Sunday. So I'm incorporating that into my routine. And then I also want to look for a Tai Chi class. I'd like to get into Tai Chi.
You should be on Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars. You should be on there.
From your lips to God's ears. That might actually give me enough for my retirement.
Please. I mean, you should. That would be great. They have had a lot of child stars and people on there who've, done things back in the past that need to be brought back to the forefront.
That would be lovely. I don't know if Julia is in enough syndication now where, people
know
would...
who you are. They at least know who Diahann Carroll is and work their way down.
But I would not argue with that.
Right.
Door.
You won't turn it, you won't turn it down. What advice do you have for some of the young stars today based on your experiences?
To find something... I mean, it's a great business, but there are more jobs behind the cameras than in front of the cameras. So I would advise to find something behind the cameras that you're interested in. I don't know if you want to use the word plan B, but I'm all for people pursuing their dreams and stuff. But the reality is it's such an unpredictable thing. I mean, I don't think you can say if you do A, B, and C, and D, you're guaranteed to get there. There's a element of luck in it. And there are a lot of jobs behind the camera that you might take to.
Sure.
It's all kind of different. I tell some people, young people too, when you watch a movie or a television show, look at the credits, the credit rolls. Like you said, Mark, there's all kinds of the writing, the producing, the people even driving limousines and drivers and picking people up and the craft services. And that's what you're talking about, that these young people need to take heed to, or people who are inspiring. Because once you get in the door, it might allow you to get in front of the camera. You never know.
Exactly.
You got to get behind.
A lot more chance there than if you're driving a truck or a taxi somewhere.
Like starting out in the mailroom, you have to work your way up sometimes.
Yeah.
Our show is called Music and Medicine. And when you hear those words, especially since you've incorporated a lot of healthy activities, which we love hearing, into your life, what does that mean to you, music and medicine?
What does music medicine mean to me?
Music and medicine.
That music is healing, like laughter is healing. I know when I've done musicals, if I had to start over, I'd probably pursue a career as a singer. And that what I've learned in acting helps my singing, because the song is a story and it's your interpretation, and you're taking the lyrics as you would a script and you're giving your interpretation of that. I remember doing musicals, and you'd hear the band in the pit, the orchestra, and the hair on the back of my neck it's an experience you can't, a live orchestra playing for you, or, I am getting goosebumps now just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But music definitely does take me to a place, acting, I love acting, but you can't really choose, what you're going. You pretty much have to do whatever's offered to you, versus, being in a position where you can just pick the roles that you're really interested in. But with music, I don't know, it just takes on a whole another emotional kind of thing for me, all the time.
Absolutely. We certainly appreciate it. It's been a delight to spend some time with Marc Copage, a childhood actor, back in the show called Julia with Diahann Carroll, sharing some of his memories, but also talking to us about his resilience and ability to continue to find other areas of life that are fulfilling. And one of those, surprisingly, being in the field of music, where he continues to perform and do study as well at this point in his life, and really has survived an industry that can be quite tumultuous. So I think a lot of the advice that he gives us is certainly messages that I hear. Think about doing work behind the camera, think about putting in your time and work, but also having a plan B, because it's not so easy to stay in front of the camera as one might think. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
Okay.